Alright, what's cracking with y'all? It's your boy Prince the Hustle Guy, and we reaching in our combat tool bag again. It is a Code Black affair, of course. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. LDBC only, LDBC everywhere. You know how we going. Alrighty, this video is about Jermall, Hitman, Charlo versus maciej, sulecki. Yeah, so this fight is obviously a 160 fight that will take place on Juneteenth. Very underwhelming opponent for Jermall Charlo. The only person we've seen I've seen Sulecki fight of note was Demetrius Andre, who blitzed him, dropped him in the first round, and obviously Andre is not known for his power. So after Sulecki got dropped, he went on to get brutalized, basically outboxed for 12 rounds. Jermall Charlo, on the other hand, Jermall Charlo has kind of been making a slow plateau. At 154, he was ducked and feared, and he was pretty much dominant there. He had the IBF belt at 154. He moved up, chasing Canelo Alvarez and Triple G. They still, to this day, refuse to fight him, and that in itself was kind of like Jermall Charlo's claim to fame was, you got these people ducking you, and that's fine and dandy if you're gonna fight in the meantime, you know. I like the Brandon Adams fight because Brandon Adams at least was a known name because of the Contender. Montiel, on the other hand, not a known name. He was scheduled to fight Jaime Munguia, and anything that has to do with Golden Girl over there, or Oscar de la Fishnets, or de la Spatula, nothing is going to be on the up and up, and nothing's going to come to fruition. We know how they step when it comes to Zurdo Ramirez. We know how they step when it comes to Ryan Garcia, and we know how they step when it comes to Jaime Munguia. So, that said, we're looking at Jermall Charlo now. Let's hope that this is literally the last filler fight that we get from him, because the back and forth between him and David Benavidez has been consistent and honestly annoying as hell. Like, really annoying as hell. David Benavidez ain't shit. And as of right now, Jermall Charlo's not even at 168 and hasn't thoroughly proved himself to be anything at 160. So it's like a whole bunch of girly talk back and forth. I'll F you up if I see you in these streets, but nobody making nothing happen as far as in the ring. David Benavidez is making it seem as though he's doing everything he can to get the fights, but it's not landing in these slow, stupid-ass people's mind that David Benavidez is one weight class higher. Not that that's anything like a giant leap for man or anything like that, but it's a separate weight class. No one is saying anything about David Benavidez moving down and fighting at 160, but he's calling out a 160 pounder. If that was anybody else, calling out if you're at 140, calling out a 135, or a 147, calling out a 140, you'll be looked at as sideways, but not David Benavidez, because you have a whole bunch of black people who are jumping on the bandwagon because they hear this name instead of supporting their own. Not necessarily meaning that you have to rock out with Jermall Charlo because of his weird self and the stuff that the Charlos do. But I digress. Charlo's going to demolish Maciej Sulecki. It's not going to be close. But I hope that this will be the last who's that guy fight that we're getting from Jermall Charlo, and hopefully he forces David Benavidez to come down, or he just fights Andre at 160. And it's not that he's been ducking Andre. We know the history. We get that Andre pulled out of a fight with his brother and then was allegedly supposed to fight him as well, and that didn't pan out. Yeah, whatever. But that still doesn't give you names on your resume. Jermall Charlo was leading the pack at 154, and now his younger brother, Lil Charlo, basically, is undisputed, and he still has the one belt that he had before Jermall even had the WBC at 154. So that said, I'm slightly frustrated with the conversation around Jermall Charlo, because I really want him to fight names and not just wait on the permission. Oh, you're granted the Canelo sweepstakes, or oh, you're granted the head of Triple G string, and it's like they're not gonna sell their belts to you. They don't want to lose to you. You're black. You're dominant. You got to make your own way. And everyone was ducking Devin Haney for a while, and Devin Haney forced them into a corner in which they could no longer duck him. That worked for Devin Haney. When you're talking about someone who has ownership stake in the zone and was signed for $100 million, that's GGG string, and then you got someone who was paid upwards of $38 million per fight at the zone, being Canelo Alvarez, after he inked his $300 million deal. So it's like you can't back those type of people in the corners. Their money is a little too long, and they can literally do whatever they want because they have delusional casuals who will defend them and to continue to do what they want. So that said, Jermall Charlo, you gotta make something shake. You gotta do something, baby. And 50 Cent, in my 50 Cent voice, like, you have to do something, because if not, literally you fall to the wayside. And it's okay if you're okay with not being on anyone's pound for pound list, but personally, I'm not okay with it, because I felt like you were literally the better of the Charlos, and then your brother proved that you are not. So you got to make something happen. You got to do something, because punking fans and talking shit to fans ain't gonna do nothing but make everybody hate the Charlos. So your brother, he was on his Bob Marley with his redemption song. You got to make something happen. Till next time, guys, shout out to the mighty LDBC only, LDBC everywhere. This is a Cold Black Affair. Deuces.